Welcome to the Don't Die Rusty podcast. I'm Rick Hansen, and we will be talking about living, not dying. We're all on this adventure together, and we will be interviewing people who inspire us to live our best lives. People with various backgrounds who will walk us down the trails they took to not die rusty. Adventure in life are many things to many people. It could be a sprint or an endurance race, but with each adventure, we become a better version of us. We hope you keep chasing those dreams, being the best you, and of course, don't die rusty. Well, hello, Don't Die Rusty Nation. I'm here tonight with co-host Ricky Bruley.
Yeehaw, buddy.
This is going to be an interesting conversation, as I always say with everyone, but I just wanted to go over the things I felt, and maybe someday we'll have Paul and Emily on, but I wanted to talk about the Western States endurance race that I went to a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking on the phone when you got back, and you were just so jazzed up and everything. I'm like, man, we got to talk about this. You know what I mean? We should, again, we'll get probably more in depth with Emily, but I just thought it'd be good to get have a conversation with you about it, and because you and I were having such a pleasant conversation over the phone. I'm like, man, I wish we could be recording this right now. So, because you were still kind of on that high, So,
but you know what it reminded me of, really, and I've had discussions with. I've talked conversations, I should say. Like I talked to Ashley, and I talked to a few other people, and it reminded me of the early days of TAC.
mm-hmm.
Not the party part, but how it felt like a family up on the mountain, that we were all together shooting, and it was all for one thing. And for us, for me, and for everybody else, it's all for Emily.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We have one focus. I should say it's one focus is to help Emily do the best she can. And it just felt like family. The funny thing is, so like I get on the airplane, I'm jacked as I go down to Rapid City to the airport. And I get on the plane, I'm having like a nervousness, like I'm an old fat guy from South Dakota that's really I've always been to endurance running, and I've always, we did our 7, and I've done other things. But the thing that I was just thinking, this Emily's world class, all this other things, am I getting in over my head? And then I got to Sacramento, rented the car. I was over my head, 6 lanes of traffic, no gravel roads. I'm just kidding you here, but I made it up to Olympic Valley, and I text Paul. I get up there, and I had to go to the bathroom. This is the most amazing thing. I just happened to walk in, and this girl from Hoka actually said, I said, "Where's the bathrooms?" And she said, "Well, they're hard to find." And then we ran into about 10 other people, and it's like, I'm already running into people, and I'm just going to the bathroom. That were really cool, and everybody was friendly. And then I text Paul, "Where are you at?" And they just sat down at this Irish pub to eat. So, and he waved at me, and I waved at him, and we walked in, and everybody gave each other hugs. It was Paul, it was Christine Howgood, Emily's mom, and Staff Howgood, Emily's dad. We hugged like we've known each other forever. They don't know me, they just know me from social media and other things. And it was just like an instant connection. And it was amazing. And we had a couple of Guinnesses and talked, and it was amazing. I'm telling you, to feel like a family within minutes of getting there is something that fills your heart up.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it until just now that, recorded 2 podcasts with her, but had never met her yet until that point. So I just like kind of got goosebumps a little bit thinking about that, and how just amazing it is that you can create these connections remotely the way that we can, and have these amazing conversations. And then, when you see each other in person, it's like you known each other for years, you know.
And it was, that was amazing. And then Paul takes me up on the tram, and then we went up to the escarpment. That's the when they come up out of the valley, they go up. They head straight up a mountain right away in the morning at the start, which was really really cool. But Paul took me up because his dad was one of the founding fathers of the race, and he, like I said, he took me up, and I'm asking him all these stupid ass questions all the way up, and I learned a lot about it, and I got the views that were amazing, and I could see Lake Tahoe in the distance. It was just wonderful, and and I thought, here's going to be my test, because it was still a good climb. Even after the tram was a good test to get to the top of the mountain, and I hung in there.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good for sure. And so I know, you know, for our regular listeners, they probably know what we're talking about. But for anybody who maybe this is your first episode and you're just picking up, so we're talking about the Western States 100-mile ultra marathon,
Yep,
correct?
yep,
Uh, and so Rick had the pleasure of accompanying or being on the team for Emily Hawgood, who is from Zimbabwe,
yeah.
and she had a really good finish this year.
Yeah, she did. I mean, she was fourth last year. She finished top 10. She's one of the few people that they know. I mean, there's not many that have finished 5 years in the top 10. That's amazing. And after you watch the race in person, like I keep up on this stuff because like earlier I was talking. Still really into endurance racing because I did it for hunting, actually, because I wanted to know how to keep fill up my energy reserves so I would be able to go the next day. Because as well as I know that if we're out there for 5 to maybe 10 days, you want to know how to be in shape, and you want to know how to keep that energy, because you got to keep on coming back and keep on coming back. So
That's
I've
right.
always been interested in this, and to be able to be a part of a team that was amazing. It was like family, and I learned a lot, and like I really the I'll get into the race part, but a little bit, but it's funny because I had to stay in. I'll start out kind of tell you my cliff notes, but I stayed in Truckee, California. This is going to be funny. If I stayed in Truckee, California, that's just down the road from Olympic Valley, and I stayed in a hostel, which I haven't stayed in a hostel in a long, long, long time. And it was kind of funny because I went into the room. It has no air conditioning. We had 4 beds in there, and this one kid had a bunk. I didn't know who he was, But I went downtown, and they have this. I would drive into town, and I cannot find a daggone parking spot. And I finally found it about 3 blocks down from where I'm supposed to be staying. And I'm walking down the street, and I said to this guy, "What's going on?" And he said, "It's Truckee Thursday, dude." And I'm like, "What the heck is Truckee Thursday?" And and it was funny. It's kind of like a downtown. We have downtown Friday nights here in Spearfish, and it's like music and booths and fun. And there was about 6,000 people there.
Wow.
And then we went up. I'm not going to get into the meeting we had, but Emily had a meeting. I went back up to Olympic Valley after I went down there, and we had a little supper. Emily came in and kind of gave us a rundown of the race, of what she wanted expected from us and stuff. And and it was really cool to see, like we were talking earlier, you think running is one foot in front of the other, but there is a lot more to this than you think, and it is amazing. And then I woke up. I came back and went to bed, but then I had the morning to do what I wanted to do, so I drove up to Lake Tahoe and jumped in Lake Tahoe because I didn't know if I'd ever be back.
Right.
But that water is so clear and cool. And of course, I meet a few people, and they took some pictures of me. I've posted them really, but that was cool. And then we met back up in the runners meeting. I'm meeting people that I've looked to for 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Killian Jornet was there, Jornet. There was other people that Scott Durick was there. I just met people that I'd looked up to, and I have to admit I read an article about mountain. I'm not trying to hack on professional mountain bikers, but professional mountain bikers. This photographer said, if you they have, maybe, I'm not going to say an arrogance, but an air about them. But an ultra runner will say he's going to, like if the photographer said, I'm going to go run 5 miles right now, and they'll say, hey, I'll go with you. And that just seemed like it was what it was. I never asked anybody to go run 5 miles with me right now. but but it was fun to watch, and it's fun. Emily Emily has that smile on her face all the daggone time.
Yeah.
I mean, and she's so friendly with everybody, and it was just wonderful. And this is the day before the race, and Paul, her coach, is just trying to get her out of there to get away from people, get your mindset. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
she's she's kind of a. I mean, her and I are roughly the same, because Cindy tries to do that every once in a while, is get me moving, and we still are friendly enough and keep on talking to people, you know. But but it was good, and to so then we had supper that night. We and it was good. We kind of everybody went to bed early, and we had plans for what's going on, and where we're going to go, and it was interesting because I was up at 3 in the morning. The race starts at 5. Rick is not going to be an anchor in any of this stuff. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be the problem. Anybody slowed down.
Mm-hmm.
And I get up there, and I got there before Paul just a little bit, and then I walked in with him, and we're chatting, and the whole race is kind of like a big balloon that starts out, and it's small, and you keep on adding air to it and air to it and air to it and air to it, like there's an excitement. And I'm watching, there's lots of hugs, there's lots of sentimentality. There was, if I'm right, there was 6 or 8 that were somewhere between 60 and 80 that were doing this race.
Wow.
And
Unbelievable.
which is a really amazing thing, because to put yourself into this race as an 80-year-old is amazing.
Yeah.
There was one runner that was, I think he got timed out, that had one leg. I mean, he had a
Prosthetic.
prosthetic on, but there is so much grit and determination in the beginning, and haven't even got to the end yet. But there's so much sentimentality and so much love for this sport that I didn't understand until you're standing there at the starting line.
Mm-hmm.
You don't realize the excitement of family and team members, and I was lucky enough that I got to hang out with the Adidas Terex team, and so I got to see all 4 of the women were in the top 10. Abby won it, and she had ripped up her knees 2 years ago. You want a story there. And I've never seen such humble people. Like, we're sitting in chairs waiting for the runners meeting. I should have said this earlier, and I just people give up their chairs and they say, "Really, you don't need it." Well, you're the athlete running. I, don't- I'm not running, so you can sit in my chair, kind of
Hmm.
thing. And that's what I saw. It's like the humbleness and the friendliness. And I'm not saying that you don't have that eye of the tiger when you're running, but I'm saying, how I've been told, like in hunting terms, like, me, I'll joke around, but when we're hunting, but if I need to turn into the predator, the eyes change and we change mental states.
Yeah.
But but in the beginning of the race, Christine hugged. I got a good picture of Christine hugging Emily, and Paul had his dad's ashes there, and
Oh.
yeah, and
Mm.
it was quite the thing, because the history and the sentimentality of all things going on there
Mhm.
was amazing. And anyway, but they do a shotgun start. It's the countdown 3, 2, 1, and the shotgun start. And it was probably 48 degrees, 45 maybe. They shot it went off. All the runners run through, and we hoofed it back to the cars because we had to get through Auburn and then drop off my car, and then I started riding with Paul. So
Mm.
we're an hour and a half before. I mean, we that's the way mountains are, that.
Oh yeah.
And we we hoofed around, and we got to the. We were riding mountain bikes, so we got into the first aid station that we went to. It wasn't the first aid station, but I can't remember what it was called. They call things funny names, and I don't remember every name. But we were sitting there waiting for Emily, and here's the cool thing. The cool thing about, and I'm not trying to give Emily a big head here if she's listening to this. I hope she does. But we're sitting. I'm standing and I'm trying to take pictures. I'm taking all this in. I'm meeting people. Paul, of course, has been there forever. I'm meeting people, and this girl says, "Who you here for?" And I said Emily, and she says, "She's my hero. She's my inspiration. I see her running on the track all the time,
Oh.
and she's I just want to be race like her. I want to be in this race. I want to, you know, when you are cheering on a person that has so much respect from other people and love, that just makes you feel better all the way too." But it was very cool that you have Emily is so well liked wherever you go. You should see the people that are around her.
Yeah, I can only imagine because even when, the conversation that I had the pleasure of having with her, again, I had to comment on her smile because she's always like every picture that you see her in. And, naturally people, they cheese and people smile, right? But I'm talking about like unposed, you know what I mean? Just like in everyday, everything she's doing, you see any videos of her running on the track and she's got a smile on her face. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I saw the video, she's nearing the end of the race and she stops and backpedals and takes 2 or 3 steps back and gives her folks a hug, and then finishes the race. And I'm just like, meanwhile, she's probably about to lose both, the toenail on both of her big toes, you know,
right. No,
and,
I do know.
and, it's unbelievable to think about. And I don't want to downplay, the Seven Peaks, but I mean, compared to this, it's just wild. And like you said, you see it, you hear about it, but to be there, I can imagine the impact that would have, like how it really shows you, the love and the compassion that everybody has for the sport. And even right now, I'm reading Cam Haynes' new book, and he talks a lot about all of that stuff. He talks about the Western states and some people that he's talked to that have been in that race, and just some of the people that he's looked to all his life. And this is
Yep.
this is Cam Haynes. We're talking about people that he's looked up to, and then
Yep.
you were there, and all these people are, uh, competing, and you're meeting all these people that you looked up to, and so just absolutely incredible experience. And I remember, when you were telling me you were kind of nervous because you didn't want to mess up and everything. I don't know. I just think it was just an awesome thing that you were able to do that, and I'm really proud that you went out there and made it happen, and I'm sure you'll be there again next year.
Well, I do certainly plan on being there next year, and then I plan. It's funny, like we were talking earlier. How family. I mean, it didn't take long to become family.
Mm-hmm.
And next year, Stoff and Christine are coming out, and Emily are hopefully coming to South Dakota to visit the Black Hills after the race.
That's awesome. Heck yeah.
And I, me, I always say we have beds and this and that, but I'm excited. I'm so excited to have Christine and Stoff come out, and Emily, Paul would be fun to have come out, but it was just funny. It's just fun. And
What about Pat?
I'm looking.
Was Pat there?
No, Pat wasn't there.
He wasn't there, huh? Shoot.
No, but Sam Lynette was there. He ran for Pat. Pat McCurry married him.
Oh,
Was it? So that was cool. And then Cody Lind, uh, he was a pacer for Emily, and to hear these stories about what they go through is amazing. But so we did that, and we went to the so we went to the second point station, and Paul, being the coach, is a little nervous. Kind of interesting to watch. I got some cool pictures of him, and I get to watch the other athletes, and then I start asking questions like, they're wearing five-toed socks, and they're doing this and doing that, and they actually put, I think it was, I don't know what social media page it was. I think it was I Run Far, but I'm not positive. But it wasn't. I. This is like a NASCAR race where they're in and out, and changing your shoes is like, or your stuff. Yeah. But and you got to think they're
you're part of the
sweaty.
pit crew.
Yeah, and their socks are, your feet are wet, and you're trying to put on five-toe socks. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
interesting because but I think it was I Run Far had our crew on, and she was in and out in like 10.62 seconds,
Wow.
like in and out, like banana in hand, whatever, and ice, and because they have ice on their necks, they dump water. I can't imagine running with just wet all the time after that. But it's
Right.
also to keep the salt. You got to think about cooling your body. That's where the questions came in, and we'll get more in depth hopefully with Paul and Emily. But those are things that really interested me, is like running wet, and they don't stop to pee. And I thought I didn't realize that. You just keep on running.
You just go.
You do, but I saw one girl had a problem she went to the bathroom and the door was locked. They need to have bathrooms just for athletes because they're
Right.
running and I can't imagine running for 16 to 18 hours like
Yeah.
they did, but anyway, that was interesting to me. So we got to there, and it was fun to watch Paul do do what he did, and then we hopped on our mountain bikes and we have to haul, like I said, I'm not going to be an anchor. So I was hauling ass on the bike, and we got back, loaded them up, and then we went to the next station that we could go to. And this was very interesting that we because we we ate. We got there, and I got this is I guess they have the I don't know who puts it on, but they have hamburgers. They have all kinds of stuff there. So you go have a hamburger. You're waiting for them to come in. There's people cheering. This is the other amazing thing. This is a big deal. People all are all over cheering people for the race. Everybody. It's just amazing. And I get done with my burger, and I'm not kidding you. It's hot. And Paul's over talking to his brother, and his brother just starts like I said, family. Kurt just starts giving me crap right away. Like he says, "What do you call me?" He says, "How you doing, lubrication?" So I don't die rusty. You know what I mean?
Okay, it
He
took
said,
me a
"Stay
minute.
lubricated." And we hit it off, and it was so fun. And but here comes Emily, and you want to know, this was the most heart pounding. Oh my gosh, I'm like, and Emily doesn't want to like her banana. She wants peeled, ready to go. She says, "I don't care if your hands are dirty or what. I want your banana peel, the banana peeled and ready to go." And Christine, Emily's mom, said, "You're going to hold it." I'm going. My heart is pounding because I can see I I can see one of the wheels falling off just because I screw something up. And I have water in one hand. Is she coming in? And then guess what? I broke her banana. And
Rick.
oh, oh crap. There's a quarter of this banana is gone. I can't like push it together. And I'm going, I'm already failing at my job. And here she comes in. And it's funny because Cindy saw this picture. Somebody took it of me holding her banana in the water. And I'm surprised that I wasn't shaking. I thought, oh, she's going to yell at me for breaking her banana. Oh,
That'd be a sight to see. Little Emily just like chewing you
it,
out.
yeah, and you know what? Yeah, and before I think was it before then? There's a bear that came in behind her. I said, well,
Really?
she probably could. Yeah, true story. Some other runner ran into it, but it's kind of funny. But
Jeez.
it's interesting. Like then we went to the it's called the Rucky Chucky. It's the it's kind of a famous thing. It's a water, it's a river crossing. And we're sitting there waiting for her, and it's fun because you get to see a mom. Christine is the nervous mom waiting for her daughter to come in. And because I get to sit back and watch, I mean, I'm having a good time. Everything's serious. But I'm watching other athletes come in. I'm watching what they do. I have questions, and it's fun to watch Christine like nervously waiting, like because if I think she was in eighth place, but it was a race. It's funny that you run 100 miles and it's a race. You know what I mean? Within minutes. That is a fun. That's the most interesting thing, and I think she was in eighth place at that time, and she's coming in. Mom's nervous because the top 10 runners get the golden ticket into next year. So you have to be top 10 to make it to next year's race, or you have to do other races. And then she comes in, and then she has a pacer, and they go down to the river. I mean, everything seems to go well. Go down to the river, and she just like dunks herself in the. She stuffed her banana in her pocket and crossed the river and dunked herself, got cooled, and that's the last time I saw her till the finish. But so her dad and I stayed a little bit longer to watch a few more other racers come in. and her mom and the other crew took off because they were going to the other part, and it's like a mile walk in, and we just went to the finish line. But on the way down, that you'll love this part. So we have to get in these little buses because there's no parking to go down to this Rucky Chucky. We're standing in the line. It's hot, miserable. On the bus, her dad and I got more Don't Die Rusty viewers because you know me with the big mouth, and we got more Emily Howgood fans. Because I mean, it's funny because we had people that were downloading down Don't Die Rusty on social media, looking at it on Spotify or Apple, whatever they were looking, and we were just gaining because we were having fun. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you get on a bus with Rick and we have fun. You know what I mean? And then we had two young girls. They were freshmen in high school, college, and they were cross country runners. And I'm talking to him. I said, "Well, this is Emily's dad. We're going to watch," because I was sitting with him, and they went down. They cheered her on at Rucky Chucky. And then we get back to the top, her dad and I, and then we went to the finish line. Luckily, Stoff, if you're listening here, thank you for your guidance because Google Maps does not work all the time.
Yeah.
And we get down to the finish line, and this is about 10, 11 at night. And who do we run into? But there was a couple there from California that we met that Don't Die Rusty. They started following us. And then the two girls, and they said, "We're invested in Emily." They didn't need to be there, but it's amazing how not only does Emily smile and everybody gravitate towards her, but her dad and I enjoying the trip and telling the people about her. You know, and that makes you proud. It makes you proud that you can see a proud dad. You know what I mean? And proud mom. I
Yeah.
mean, Chris, Christine, she ran in with Emily, and a bunch of the others did. And then, but it's amazing that. And for us to, then we went and sat, and they have this like they have food, and nobody has to pay for it. You go get your food. They're grilling and grilling and grilling, and you go eat, and you do stuff, and and so Stoff and I just sat there and chatted about life, chatted about farming, chatted about this, chatted about that, and we knew Emily was coming in because we were getting updates, and we went down to the track, and we came around the other side, and we're at the finish line and we're cheering her on, and here she comes. And this, if you don't get sentimental like you just talked about, well, I'm clapping, and we're both yelling for Emily. And when she stopped and turned around and gave her dad that hug, this guy just about started shedding a tear right there because you think of what she did, running all that distance, probably feeling like her toes. I mean, I know her toes. That's what happens. Their toes are beat up. Their feet are beat up.
Yeah.
Your body's probably feeling like crap.
Mm-hmm.
And she turns around and gives her dad that hug. To have the wherewithal, to have the thought of that gesture of love, just about that, that sent me into like, holy smokes. And I was standing right there and got to see it firsthand. That hit me hard.
Yeah.
It truly hit me hard. And the other thing that hit me hard was The night that we had that Thursday night we had that meeting, Emily said, "Rick, you're part of this team." And that hit me hard too, because Emily, I'm here to watch you and I'm here to cheer you on, but she says you're part of this team, and she wanted me in the picture also. And you know what? That made you feel like family right there too.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And so then we get to go home and take a nap because our runner is done, and you could stay most of the night, but they have this thing called the golden hour. It's the race is over in 30 hours. You're done. And you get there. I got there about 9:30. Figured I had to park. This is amazing. I couldn't find a freaking place to park, so I just about had to run my own race to get in. Luckily, it was 100 miles to get to the track, and I'm hurrying to get down to the track. Like I got there before 10 even. I was there, like I said, and I'm walking down, and Killian Jornet is on the side of the road cheering these runners on that are making it in the last hour. Emily is there. All these runners that ran the night before that are elite are cheering on these people that have ran 30 hours through the night, through the day, through the night again. I mean, it started in the dark. They ran through the dark. They got there at 11. And these people, the stadium is packed. And when they come into the deal, the whole place erupts. Like we were on the backside cheering them on. And then you come around the front and you can just hear it, and they have drums going. Like it is just amazing. But to think about it started wrenching my heart again by thinking of what these guys and gals have went through to get here, and they have 1 hour to get this thing done, and there's one guy, I think he had 4 minutes to get around to the finish, and he did it. But I mean, they're walking like they are beat to holy heck. And to find that I'm asking myself these questions like, could I do this? And here's another funny thing. So I'm there at the golden hour, and I have no I met this guy at the airport, and he had Solomon bags, and I kind of made a comment, which I have to say, the Adidas Terex are very comfortable too. I mean, I loved wearing them. But and I said, "You here for the race?" He said, "Yep." Who comes in during the golden hour? But that guy that I've met at the airport.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Really.
Yeah.
So you're cheering these guys on, and you're going, you have been beat up and you have gone through hell, and you have to. I wanted to talk to one of them just to say, how do you feel? Like you've accomplished something, but all these people are cheering for you. It's amazing. It, how many races have you? I mean, to think about this, you have a race that lasts 30 hours. Your top runners, the top male came in 14 hours. Female, I can't remember, but I think it was 16. So you're 16, 17 hours. Top racers come in. Just about another, I mean, if it was 15 hours, you have 15 more hours to race for these other people. And the winner's already done. And how many people stay to the end of the race? How many people watch that last hour? And this place is packed.
Yeah.
If you want to feel heartstrings, that is where, because like I said, the people are beat up. And I learned so much about that stuff. It was amazing. And so Ricky, guess what Rick started thinking? Not running the race, but there might have to be a don't die rusty 100-mile challenge someday for us.
Let's do it. I'm in.
You know what I
There
mean?
doesn't need to be a time limit.
Well, I actually thought if we had a 48-hour time limit, I'm not going to set us at 30, but I was thinking, when we did the 7, we did it in 24 hours. But you think of how much driving time we had.
Yeah, there was driving time, and we took. I guess we didn't take any real significant breaks. The breaks were in the drive time, I guess, other than
They
just
were,
the short break we took at Crazy Horse.
yeah, exactly.
Um, but yeah,
But
I guess it'd be interesting. We could probably go back and look at the actual like hiking time.
you could, but I was thinking 30 hours if 30 hours would be 3 miles an hour, roughly.
Like a I don't know. Do you got to be could you brisk walk it in 30 hours, you think?
I know that's the other problem is because it's mountains. You're climbing up, you're climbing down. I think you could walk a flat area, but I don't know about the mountain part. So that's why I
Yeah.
put 48 hours. If you had
Yeah.
48 hours, I think this isn't this is just a challenge that I not that I would know exactly how an athlete of that caliber feels, but I would
Mhm.
know that I have done 100 miles in one shot.
Yeah.
And I'm going to set up I want to set up this is not going to be down the Mickelson Trail. This is not going to be on any of the trails that normal people go on because I'm not normal. This is one I would want to set up that we see different country, but we do 100 miles. And the good thing about that is we have support, you know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I want to do this to see how you feel. And heck, my knees are feeling good. I know I'm going to not feel great, but I want to see how this goes.
Mhm. Yeah,
So,
I'm in. I'm down. I'll do it.
and I think that'd be a great Memorial Day if we had a Memorial Day because unlike Emily, I'm not as tough as her, but I don't want to do it in 100-degree heat.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Thanks. Oof.
Memorial Day here in South Dakota, that when we did it was the week after. It wasn't bad. You got a little warm there at at Crazy Horse, but otherwise it really wasn't bad.
No.
Once we started climbing to Little Devil's Tower, it's after we got up to Little Devil's Tower, it started cooling off just a little bit.
Yeah, I would say it was like the that first stretch before Little Devil's Tower. It was getting a little bit hot, and that's when Cindy was like, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna go back." But
Yep.
yeah, I was like every shaded, I was like hiking from one shaded tree to another shaded tree just to try to
Yep.
avoid the sun because we were just cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did cool down after that.
But it wasn't 100 degrees. This
No,
was hot
yeah,
and
hundreds
dusty and
ridiculous.
dry. And so I think, that's why I like to do it a little earlier and just if we have, if it's cool, I'm a happy guy.
I wonder if there's like 100-mile loop or something we could do around the Grand Canyon.
Well, I bet there would be.
Think that'd be a little too heavy duty. I don't know.
Well,
Something to think about.
I need to tell you Ray's story.
Oh,
I'll,
do tell.
I'll tell you that off camera sometime.
Oh, that sounds great.
But
So,
he went to rim to rim. He didn't go rim
okay.
to rim to rim. He wanted to do rim to rim to rim, but he didn't get her done. Because I also thought about that. Rim to
So
rim is
across
like,
and then back. He just
yeah,
went
that's about,
across.
yeah.
Okay.
But he wrecked his knee.
Mm.
But I think that's 50 miles rim to rim to rim. But there's a lot of vertical in there.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I wonder. That's why I was thinking. Like, I wonder if you can hike a chunk, along one rim, and then cross. Go rim to rim, and then kind of hike back on the other rim, and then go across again. But if it's 50, one way, then yeah, there's not going to be a lot of traversing across the rim at all.
There might be some. There might be some. There might be some looking, digging in, seeing what I can do. But I just thought about that, like the Black Hills. But we could find something else that it'd be fun to have a little Don't Die Rusty. Maybe we could anybody that would might want to come along if they are listening to this, we can figure out something. But the date would be set, and you'd have to message us on our social media or whatever else if you wanted to come along. But this isn't a race. This is a challenge.
Yeah, the
I,
challenge, the DDR 100 challenge.
the DDR 100 challenge, because I just don't want to. I don't need to race.
Yeah, I just think it'd be an amazing accomplishment. It's just blows my mind to be able to finish. I mean, again, those people coming in at 30 hours, just to finish is a huge accomplishment. And, to finish in the top 10, wow. I mean, absolutely incredible. And of course, this is their lifelong thing, and that's not to downplay what, their abilities or what they can do, but it's just like incredible. And it'd be kind of cool to get a piece of it, even though we know we can't touch their time, right?
No,
And I probably don't want to.
no, I know. I don't. I don't. I used to think I wanted to. When I was out there, I thought I wish I was 30 years younger, and I wish I knew that I enjoyed this sport like I do,
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't realize. I mean, it's funny the different combinations of people, because Dan Jones, who got fifth, and he's on Adidas Terex too. I'm that we had there the party at Paul and Kurt's dad's place, a little after party kind of thing. I walked normal, and most everybody else did, but those five athletes, they kind of were a little tender.
I imagine.
and very very much so. But it's fun because I was talking to his dad, and they hunt, and it's amazing the number of people I didn't realize that were outdoorsy people too.
Mm-hmm.
And that made me feel very good in itself too. Like it's an interesting combination of people. You have all different lives, but everybody gets along.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Like I said, I didn't want to get too much into the race because I I want to talk to Emily and Paul about it so we can maybe get a little in depth, because I didn't. They can say what they want to, and I'd like to delve into what Emily's thinking and what Paul's thinking. But I wanted to touch on little things. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm writing a blog of what I saw in my of this adventure. But the other thing I thought about was, if you have a dream, you should go do it. I've wanted to go to this race for a long, long time, and I didn't understand it, but I wanted to go. And I don't know how we get lucky, or I get lucky anyway for sure, but to to hook up with Paul and Emily, who's Paul's dad, like I said, was a founding father. So there's history there. To have a world-class athlete that you get to go help. How do we get lucky like that and out of the blue get to go do that?
It's wild. The networking, I think that's one of my favorite things about podcasting is all the people that you meet, and just getting to learn all of these things that we can't possibly dive into on our own,
Yeah.
and it's just incredible. I love every bit of it. All these opportunities, all these people that we get to meet. And it's funny, now that you're saying that, and I'm sitting here thinking, like how certain things kind of come together. You know what I mean? And like I said, I'm reading Cam's book Undeniable right now, and so that's really gotten me kind of fired up, about just keep keep going, because I have those days where I'm just like, man, it's just constant, it's just foot on the gas all the time. And to the point where like sometimes I feel guilty if I even want to just like sit down and watch a TV show for a half hour. I'm just like, man, I don't know if I should be doing this. I should really probably be doing this or doing that. And but it's really, reading that book and him talking about, all of the outliers that he's been communicating with and all the people that have inspired him to be better, and to keep just pushing forward no matter what. And then it's like, okay. And ever since we've kind of started this journey with Don't Die Rusty, now I'm still not quite on the road to eating as clean as I'd like to, but still being, going on almost 7 months sober. And so I'm feeling like this all is kind of leading up to, just getting healthier, pushing forward even harder. And then now that you're talking about trying to do, 100 miles, it's like, if you had asked me that a month ago, I'd have been like, yeah, I don't know. But the fact that we're having this conversation today, and I started reading this book like 3 days ago, I'm like, let's go. Like, let's do
Yeah.
this. I'm pumped. Like, I'm like, all right. So all of that stuff, right, is leading up to this conversation we're having now. And then moving forward, now it's like, okay, what are the steps that I got to take to start getting myself into better shape to make sure that I can make that happen. So,
And the other thing is like I said, it's a challenge. I think you need to set that time goal, but I don't feel like we would diminish anything if we didn't make that goal, but I think you need to set a time goal so you can kind of have something to strive for. But if you don't make it, it doesn't matter, because this isn't a race. This isn't we aren't competing against each other in that aspect. It's about achieving a goal that you can say, you know what? I walked 100 miles straight. I didn't this isn't a hike like, I mean, I'd love to do a PCT, or I'd rather do a PCT and more than the
mhm.
Appalachian Trail, just because I like the West more than the East. That's just me.
What
But
did Sam do last year? Was that 100 miles?
he did 100 miles,
It was 100 miles, but flat,
but flat.
completely flat ground. And I don't remember how long did that take him.
I
I feel
don't
like,
remember.
well, because he did it in like
Two
little,
days,
like
wasn't it?
small stretches. Like I think he did sleep.
Well, it had been 2 years ago now. 'Cause he didn't do it last year because of his Achilles, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's God, 2 years ago already. That's crazy. I can't believe it's
Isn't
been
it?
that long. Holy buckets. But yeah, I don't know, again, just like following along with that too. And, obviously we know it's possible, but it would be, he's going through the prairie lands, which, not to, they're beautiful in their own
Yeah.
right. But, I want to it'd be nice to be somewhere a little bit more, with some more grandiose views.
That's what. So I'm gonna think about this. Like I said, it's not gonna be a normal trail. I don't want anybody can do the normal trail. I want some great views, and I think I have some ideas, and I need to just figure out where we could finish.
Mm-hmm.
But um, we'll see what happens. But anyway, um, next week I want to talk about just a little bit too. Is we're going to get the Rictastics together, and we have a wonderful question coming up. And do you think I should ask this question to some of these people? If
Right now?
Well, yeah, if they're
Yeah,
listening, they could,
do it.
maybe they could. So here's going to be the question, if I can find it here real quick. Looking down here, I know, but our tambourine player, Ashley Kurtenbach, pointed out a question that I think we all need to think about. And this is the topic is going to be, what blessings do you see each day in an average day, and how do you feel your expectations are receiving those blessings? For example, what do you do to give back for receiving those blessings? And I think that one struck me like, what do we give back for the blessings we get? That's something to think about.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on in my head right now. And of course, I'll save it for the episode next week.
Exactly.
Uh,
I
but
wanted
yeah,
to stop you because I knew that I saw.
yeah, I mean, even when we talked about it yesterday a little bit, briefly, and you had texted it to me, and I was driving, and then I'm kind of just skimming over it, and I'm just like, huh. Yeah, again, it's one of those things where, it kind of goes back to the conversation that was brought up about 24 hours to live, right? Like, is that something that you think about on a daily basis? And maybe it is something that you should, I think it's definitely a good question to ask yourself, I think, on the daily. And then
It is.
it'll really help put things into perspective for you, and then help you maybe be a better you and treat
Yes.
others, similarly, like the way that you'd want to be treated back. So yeah, we'll get deeper into that next week. So I'm excited about that conversation. It's been a while since we've chatted with Kelly, so I'm excited to get the THP back in the house and have a chat with him. I always enjoy his words of wisdom for sure.
Yeah, and he's been practicing the bass, so he should be really good by then, Like,
slap of the bass.
That's right. Because I think about the bass too. Is that he's close. He talks to God. That bass baritone voice. I'll try to get the singing voice in here. I don't know. Are you going to still be lead guitar, or do you want to be?
Oh yeah, I'm on it, man. I got this. So I'll get down some solos. I'll work on it.
All right. Love hearing that. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. I mean, this is what we've been lucky to get to. I'm hoping like we have more adventures and we have more thoughts, and we got some cool guests coming up here. As we were talking here, we got one next week. I mean, in 2 weeks that we're going to have. So that will work out perfectly. We'll try to get that one out. And that one is a very inspirational story. He's a good friend. And I hope you enjoy that conversation when we have it. So, as usual, thank you.
And we also have, we'll be speaking with a cousin of mine who's a doctor. She's a naturopathic doctor. And I just recently had a really amazing conversation with her. And so I'm pretty excited to get her on here. She'll certainly help lube some of the rust in everybody's life as well.
Well, I am excited about that conversation too, because the dedicated listeners that have been listening, they know the journey that we've been on, both of us, and I'm certainly interested in that because you and I were talking about this the other day, and you had me all excited, and I can't wait to talk to her too. So yeah. We got some great guests coming up here that will inspire you, who will educate you, and who will hopefully make a lasting impression.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So anything else, Ricky?
No, I think that's about it. I hope everybody has a great week, and we look forward to chatting with you all again soon.
Yeah, sounds good. So love you all, and as usual, keep chasing your dreams, being the best you, and don't die rusty.
Thank you for listening to the Don't Die Rusty podcast with your hosts, Rick Hansen and Ricky Bruley. The Don't Die Rusty podcast is written and produced by Rick Hansen and Ricky Bruley. You can find us on Instagram and on Facebook at Don't Die Rusty. You can rate and review this show on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You might find your review read on a future episode. Got a question for the Ricks? Send us an email at don'tdierusty@gmail.com. It too could be featured on a future episode. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Don't Die Rusty podcast wherever fine podcasts are downloaded.